Good morning. Welcome back to Professional Insights brought to you by the National Referral Network. And the question of the day is, what if you could achieve your wildest money goals and unlock a true abundant mindset? And that is the question I'm here to talk to Halle Evalyn about this morning, who helps women answer that every day. Halle is an awakener who helps women reveal their true abundance and aligns them with success. And she has some unique blend of mindset work and practical strategies that we're going to get into. And she's helping women all over the world create that financial abundance and live their lives to the fullest. But before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Her link will be below to join newsletter and things like that. Make sure you post any questions. These conversations are driven by your questions. So please like, subscribe, put the questions. And without any further ado, let's get started. Halle, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I love having you here. We had a great conversation, and thank you for taking the time. Halle, I want to kind of start with your journey. What led you to become this transformational coach, especially for women? Because it's extremely important. We'll get into that. But how did you get into this kind of realm?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I am a woman. So there were issues that I dealt with ever since I started my first company, which was over 30 years ago. I was one of 5 female executives at the time in the software industry. I would walk into a room, be the only woman. I'm sure you've heard all the stories. I once got yelled at by somebody for something that was absolutely not my fault, but it was like the whole project was having problems. But the guy yelled at me because he was pushing to try to make me small so that he could be. So it's really interesting to see like some of the dynamics that women have been through. So I definitely feel like women are the underdogs when it comes to wealth. And let me just preface by saying, I love men like so much. And I know that the men that are supporting women and helping them and advocating for them are doing their great work in the world too. However, what most men don't realize, and I'm saying this because of the deer in the headlights stares I've gotten, men will look at you like you are insane when you inform them that this is the 50th year since women could have their own credit cards, bank accounts, and mortgages in their name without their daddy or their husband signing. So there was a story in my lifetime when I was a little girl. There was a story that you were just going to grow up and you were going to marry somebody and they were going to take care of you and you shouldn't worry your pretty little head about it. And most women are walking around with, if not that story from their own experiences, from their mothers, their grandmothers, it's a legacy generational thing. So I love helping women because of that. Transformational wise, there's like a whole other story that I've like even written a book about. But let me just say that I was an atheist until the breath that I was not. And you couldn't logic me into God beforehand. You couldn't logic me out of God afterwards. A lot of the work I do is intuitive and guided. I suck at faith. I've never had any and I still don't need any. So it works out really well. So we've got the transformation part and then we've got the helping women part. And then the money part came because I got what I call a download. So I just was riding my bike and all of a sudden this idea hit me that was so big. I literally like drove into the curb, almost fell off of my bike. And that was that there is a financial tsunami coming. And I need to teach women to surf so they don't get knocked over by the waves. And again, I feel like that's true of some men, but it's true of most women. And there's a lot of feelings with women of, I was standing behind the door when they handed out that money information in school. And you have to literally like grab them by the shoulders and be like, no, nobody got that information. We were not taught that stuff in school. You're going to have to learn it on your own. And then you're going to have to shore up your money mindset so that you have like a belief in yourself while you're learning. So there's like all this combination of everything, but that's the short version.
So the mindset is interesting, Halle, because look, there's a lot of things that our belief systems aren't ours, right? They're handed down to us. And there's been books about this. The Psychology of Money is one of them. Great book. And mindset is everything, especially around money.
Amen.
How do you define, or how do you help individuals redo that belief system on a wealth mindset? And we can get into why is it crucial for women, but let's start there. Like, how do you help women define what that wealth mindset is?
So it's different for everybody. And when we talk about wealth, there's generational wealth. Think in terms of like, I'm creating $100 million or more. I can't spend that money in my lifetime unless I really, really try. So I'm going to create legacy wealth. Okay. That would be the generational wealth piece. Then you've got what I would call the old money mindset of a millionaire. Like growing up, we all had this idea of like, what do I need? I need $1 million, right?
Yep.
Remember that old Steve Martin routine?
Yep.
How do I get $1 million and never pay taxes? So that's actually not true anymore. I think that the word millionaire is now the word billionaire. Like we've moved into that era already, just in the last 10 years. And so now what we used to say, like, oh, if I'm making $100,000 a year, I've got all the money that I need.
Right.
That's really the mindset that the millionaire has. I've got enough money that I don't need to look at the right side of the menu anymore. I don't need to look at the price side of the menu. But you don't have, with $1 million a year, you don't have the kind of income that you used to have where you were set for life. You are set for middle class at that point. And then there's everybody below that, which is most people. You actually are in the 1% if you make somewhere around like $400,000 to $600,000 a year. You're already in the 1%, which is crazy. It means most people aren't making that kind of money. So thinking in terms of that structure is something that will tend to break some money mindset beliefs, because we have these beliefs like, I don't know, I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Money is the root of all evil,
Right.
or money doesn't grow on trees, or, you got to have money to make money, right? There are like 100 adages, and they kind of get layered onto your brain. You take them for granted, and you walk around with this really crap money mindset all the time because you've never stopped to re-examine your beliefs and say, do these belong to me? Do these belong to my parents? Do these belong to my great-grandparents who were Irish potato farmers during a famine? It's really fascinating. So a lot of it is reframing. And then the second piece is more like bigger than goal setting. I'll call it dream setting. Dream setting is being intentional about creating dreams that will become your reality.
Right.
I probably should copyright that word that I just came up with. I really like that. But it is that energy of, what do I want? And not necessarily knowing how I get there, but rather seeing myself there, which is, as you know, the manifestation process is not having the desire of the thing, but seeing yourself already having the thing. And that goes back, and when you said mindset is everything, our thoughts are the things that will become a reality, right? Thoughts become things, especially if they have focused energy behind them. So when I work with people, I'm working with them to break down the crystallized structure of what they've been taught to believe by society, their family, their parents, their, the people around them, and then also doing that dream setting for the purposes of helping them to reawaken dreams that they might have had when they were younger, that they've put aside, that they've been told they could never have, because all money really is energy that gives us choice, right?
Right. And so you mentioned generational wealth, Halle, and there's so much talk about generational wealth in terms of a dollar amount. And so I heard this interesting perspective, and I don't know who said it, and I wish I saved the video, but this individual said generational wealth is, in his opinion, was more about education and teaching our young people what we learned as older. And I've heard this before. Don't teach them what you think they should know. Teach them what you never knew that you wish somebody would have taught you. Right. And you mentioned some of these things. Some of these, like, as an example, one of the beliefs is you have to pay off your house. Well, that was true back after the Great Depression. It's not necessarily true today. So building that financial literacy is obviously a huge part of the empowerment. How do you help women kind of get through and break through some of these financial literacy barriers when there's so much noise on the internet?
Well, it's interesting because I don't like that's not something I ever really need to deal with.
Awesome.
I would tell somebody. So first of all, I do about 20% financial literacy and about 80% mindset,
Perfect.
because once your mindset is in alignment, you actually will find the right teachers. You'll be guided to the right books. You'll know this feels right, this doesn't feel right. Where the confusion comes in and the overwhelm comes in is not being able to feel like you're able to make a decision, right? I'm just being, everything's coming at me. But if you look at somebody's YouTube channel or somebody's posts, you're like, that resonates, that doesn't resonate. That's your guidepost right there. It's just we've been inured to using our own guidance, to using our own intuition. So there are people who are out there listening to, I'll call them the crypto bros, and they're loving what they're doing and they're getting their daily, they're day trading out there and they're making their millions in crypto. And then you get women who listen to that stuff and they're like, oh, it makes me like want to curl up in a ball. So it's like what resonates with you, because what resonates with you is the stuff that you're going to be paying attention to, the stuff that you're going to be following, and the stuff that you're going to be agreeing with. But when it comes to financial literacy in general, there are not a huge number of resources out there for women per se. And I know of them. And when I work with somebody, I'm guiding you in those directions again, but to see what resonates. There's two phrases that I learned. So I ran a podcast that was just for women called Goddess of Crypto, where I only interviewed women for over 2 years. I did about 55 episodes. And during that time, I learned two very important phrases. One, NFA, no financial advice. And you don't ever want to really give financial advice until you have your SEC licenses, etc. What you do want to do is direct somebody towards financial education so that they can, this is the other key phrase, DYOR, do your own research.
Right.
You never want to tell somebody something and have them just go do it blindly. They need to check in with themselves. And that's where the intuitive piece that women are so much better at than men, because we're been allowed to develop that piece, that we're not better at it like inherently as we're babies, but society teaches us differently, right? And society has taught women that the intuitive sense belongs to the woman. And then it's also taught men and women, stop that right now, and sort of like bumped them on the head and pushed them down and told them not to be intuitive. I once had a business partner who told me that she mentioned her intuition, I'm getting an intuitive hit. And she walked out of the meeting and her manager said to her, don't ever use that word again. And she was like, and it, it really traumatized her.
Right.
But that's the kind of thing that so many of us have gone through. But when you develop that intuitive guidance, you are actually developing the connection that you need to be guided in the right direction towards the information. Because there's a ton of different things. Are you a stock market person? Are you a real estate person? Are you a crypto person? Are you the kind of person that you're so inured to, you're so averse to risk that you're going to be doing just like bonds and, hoping that the treasury stuff picks up? It depends on you. So somebody else telling you that or handling your money for you, it only goes so far. And what crypto has taught a lot of us is you can manage your own money. You can manage your own growth. You can manage your own wealth. You just need to trust yourself long enough to take those steps and then continue to do your own research.
But I think you make a great point, Halle, with it's your process, right? Because I think, and I talk to clients about this all the time as an advisor, is for the longest time, most retirement plans were designed for the men's life, which is why we have statistically a higher amount of women now without money and living in different assisted living facilities or, elder care homes or whatever the case may be. And so I always talk to individuals about, look, at the end of the day, the wife the plan's for the wife. It's not for the man, right? They're statistically die sooner. But the thing is the stewardship, right? You have to be a steward of your own money, and you have to have those advisors in your life that are going to ask questions and not tell you what to do, right? And we've talked about this with various professionals here, estate planning, CPAs, that if any professional looks down their nose at anybody to tell you what to do, they're probably not the right fit for you, right? There has to be an alignment to that. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the person that asks you those questions is so important. Look, we have a financial advisor. And one day the financial advisor came over and sat down. We had met with him several times, but he came over and said to us a very important thing. He said, "What does being old look like to you?
Right.
And what do you want to have happen to your money when you get old?" And we realized during that course of that conversation that we wanted long-term disability insurance and not life insurance. We didn't need the life
Perfect.
insurance anymore. We weren't at an age where that mattered, but we were at an age where we wanted to think way early, but we wanted to think about what happens when we're tiny old gray people.
Right.
And so we planned differently so that if one of us becomes disabled, we're able to, and has to go and live in one of those homes, that we will be able to live in. There's a place around here in Miami called the Palace. That's the place you want to live in.
I live in the Palace.
It's still it's still an elderly person's home. I never want to go, but I have two old parents living in living in their homes and doing really well. But it's a choice, and sometimes it's a choice that is dictated by your health. But gosh, for so many people, it is a choice that is dictated by your money and the amount of elder abuse. I mean, I live in Florida where there's just a ton. We've had personal experiences where we've seen that. It's awful. And what I want to go back and tell young people, and maybe I'll write a book about this, but I doubt it because it's like one sentence, is think about being old now. Because what happens is we don't worry about that. We don't think about it until we're past the point where we should have started thinking about it 20 years ago. Right. And I think there's a lot of people running around in their 50s who are not saying, well, when I'm 80, they're just like, I'll be fine. I've always been fine. I'll still be fine. And that's not a plan, right? So I know that you have financial planners and advisors that your clients work with and that are your clients and work with other people. But I just think that it's so important that we recognize that money is energy, money is a tool. And money is freedom. And that's a huge reframe for people. Right. Because when you give money your power, you are really giving money like energy that does not belong to it. Don't laugh because this is just so unusual, but I happen to have a lot of money in my desk right now. Okay. So I have a chunk of cash right now. Okay. So if I take out just this $100 bill and look at it, right? I could burn this money. And all it is a piece of paper. But people will murder for this piece of paper. Or for the stack of paper that I am taking to the bank later. But that's because we have this crazy perception about what money is. And it's not accurate. And when we stop giving money our power, that is the first key to taking our power back and to begin to be able to dream set again.
And that goes to that transition of having that mindset of abundance versus scarcity, correct?
Yes. Now let's talk about that for a second because it's everything. Most people, I hear up to 80%, although I hope that statistic is quite high. 80% of people in America are a paycheck away from financial ruin, bankruptcy, or not having grocery money or whatever. Okay.
I would say that it's probably higher, but let's just stick with 80.
My heart. Okay. Yeah. I believe you. Okay. So that was a confirmation I didn't want, but okay. So why is that? It's often because we are only taking care of what is right in front of us. Right. We are not, this is why I call myself the awakener, because my job is to awaken people to the possibility that they are living lives that are much less than the ones that they could have. And if you want a life that is the life of your dreams, where at least you're dreaming about a vacation every year, you're dreaming about the person that you're going to be in love with and have a great time with, and who's your partner in adventure for the rest of your life, where you're dreaming about having an animal and being able to afford to pay for, or feed that animal, or that
Right.
little person that you want to bring into your life, or your grandbaby, or whatever. If you want to have those kinds of dreams, a lot of people don't give themselves permission, or they do it in a way that is a wishful kind of thing, but they don't know that they actually have the ability to co-create that with whatever their higher power is. They're not trying to do that because they don't know that it's possible. So
Well,
when
Halle,
so
let's dig into that for a second, because
okay.
I think social media has created this millionaire lifestyle persona,
Yeah.
and a lot of people fall into that. And so, some of that can be extremely daunting. If I look at my life and I don't know where to start, and I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and I see all this millionaire lifestyle, that seems a very far stretch from where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so the question I have goes back to stewardship. Maybe, and I'm not trying to lower anybody's expectations, but maybe your ideal life, your path is $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year. It doesn't have to be this multi-million dollar e-commerce empire, multiple author, because everybody's an expert in everything these days. And so how do you, and I said, I don't want to lower anybody's bar,
No.
but how do you
But
make it realistic?
okay, so you don't worry about that because it's different for everybody. So it doesn't
Perfect.
have to be quote unquote realistic. But let's just explode all of this in like 2 minutes. Are you
Okay,
ready?
let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, the thing that you're describing, I would call imposter syndrome.
Awesome.
Every woman in the world now knows what imposter syndrome is. I know people who coach only on imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is basically BS. Anytime you grow past where you are right now in your comfort zone, anytime you grow past there, you will have some version of imposter syndrome,
I love
because
it.
your brain is hardwired from cave people times when there was a saber-toothed tiger outside of your cave to keep you safe in the cave. What is safe equal today? Stuck. Right? There are women who will die rather than leave the abusive man that they are
Right.
with. Why? Because their brain is lying to them. And this is not women only. This is just like the example that you read about in the news.
Right.
You will stay in the situation that is so unsafe because your brain will tell you that that is safe. That means the known is considered safe, no matter what the known is. Okay, so now we have some pieces of information. If I have $150,000 or $200,000 and I'm making that a year, my lifestyle already feels so millionaire to me compared to where I was when I was back at the beginning, coveting, that I'm already on my path. So
Right.
you're good once that happens. So don't worry about, I'm only making $200,000 a year. I don't think I have not run into anybody who says that, but I
Right.
have run into plenty of people who are yearning for more than that. And what happens is, your creative life force, the thing that knows that you are a multimillionaire or that you have the love of your life or whatever, is calling to you. And it's calling to you through those influencers, because it's not an accident that you're seeing them on your feed. You are literally being called. Imagine that instead of being, when you look, this is how you fix imposter syndrome in like 5 seconds. Stop looking at those people and going, I want that. And start looking at those people and going, wow, they're a way shower. They are showing me the way that that is possible for me.
I love it.
That changes everything. It's such a reframe. That, and when you are seeing the thing that you want, you are actually being invited to it. But what gets created is what I call the lack gap. And the lack gap is, I want that over there, which means I don't have it over here. That
Right.
creates the gap. And we fall down into the lack gap and we will stay there forever. To fix the lack gap, and this is work that I do when I coach with people all the time, you have to create it in the now. So right now I'm busy calling in hundreds of thousands of dollars. I am doing that by feeling that I've already got it and taking the action steps that I hear that my intuition tells me and guides me to take with my work. That combination is very potent, and money will then come from unexpected sources, and you'll have unexpected opportunities, and people will show up in your life that are unexpected, and you'll be like, wow, this is crazy. And it isn't, it's just the way that it works. And the person that I have studied to understand the science behind this, even though it was just the way that my work is from way back, like when I started coaching, but the person that I found like a couple of years ago that explained the math to me, so to speak, is Joe Dispenza, because he talks about the quantum physics behind why this works. So if you're that kind of person where you're like, prove it to me first, I get you and I feel you and I am you, and you can do that because you can go and look at how quantum physics proves out what you can prove to yourself through energy experiments.
So it's that, and I'm not saying it's old, but I learned it probably 14 years ago, that mindset of be, do, have, right? Be that person, take the actions, and you'll have whatever you want to have, versus that mindset,
So
well, once I have that, then I'll do that, and then I'll be that, amazing business or entrepreneur. Is that
So where that comes into play that I think is so important, be, do, have, is don't wait to have the things that you want to be happy.
right?
That is the key. And that's where be, do, have came from. But I would say that that's not, like what I just described is not be, do, have. What I just described is be, have, do. Which is
Gotcha.
not totally different. I've never really thought about this before, but I think it's an important distinction to make. When you be the thing that you are, you have it already. So it's not a
Understood.
conversation at that point.
Right.
And an awareness that I had the other day is, we talk about our problems a lot. We complain about things. We say, this isn't working, that isn't working. I need this. I don't have this. What are you doing every single time? You're creating that again, because you're creating the energy of lack. So when you imagine just for a moment that you have $1 billion, you're today's actual millionaire and you're a billionaire, you have $1 billion. You can't spend your money just walking around. Maybe you could if you bought a portfolio of houses or whatever, but for the most part, you just have $1 billion. Are you walking around complaining about the cost of the groceries or the cost of the thing in the restaurant or how much you just paid for your new Bentley?
I hope not.
Yeah, you're not. You're just like, let me bring my whole family to Hawaii instead of just taking my lovely partner. So, and let's plan to, let's like private sail around the island on a yacht while we're there. That's the kind of stuff where you're not focusing on, and now, do bad things happen to billionaires? Oh, sure. We just Steve Wynn went blind and Steve Jobs died, and it's not just guys named Steve. So we don't have having money doesn't mean you don't have problems, but having money makes the problems usually a lot easier to solve. Right. And you aren't going to be running that daily complaint sheet of everything that's going to keep you stuck, because you won't feel that lack anymore. And the point of it isn't necessarily about money. It's, if you don't want the problem, stop creating the problem. Stop creating it by talking about it, by blogging about it, by, going to join a focus group about it. Like when I have a problem with the political system, my way of solving that is not to get angry with the political system. My way of solving that is to go into love and to see unity. That's to me, we're divided as a country. We want to just see unity. And the political parties come second to seeing that love consciousness and seeing that unity. And that's the kind of thing where Einstein said, you can't solve the problem at the level of it, right? You have to be at the level of the solution in order to solve the problem.
I love it.
So I think that is again an energetic where, like, let's stop feeding the things that we don't want. If we walk around complaining we don't have money, we basically are sending the message out all the time to the universe, to God, to spirit, to whatever your higher power is. You're like, I don't have money. Okay, well, boom, you don't have money. Yeah. Let's wave that magic wand. There we go. You've reaffirmed. Congratulations.
Right. And then our belief system dictates our actions. And so we perpetuate that belief system by those complaints, right? And it's a vicious cycle.
And it's hard. It is, and yet it's an easy cycle to break. You want to recognize that it is a cycle. So what's a cycle? It's a circle, right? So it goes out, it comes back. Money flows out, money flows back. You can bless. There's the religious expression is bless and multiply. You could literally, I used to write BAM, bless and multiply, on my checks. Remember when you wrote checks? I would go to the grocery store and I'd be like, BAM, bless and multiply. But you want to see it as it goes out. You want to see it coming back to you, and you want to see it coming back to you tenfold. And you want to know that it just is, and not, I see it going out. It's like you don't walk into a restaurant, sit down, order a Caesar salad and be like, oh my gosh, I hope they have lettuce, right? I hope the Caesar dressing is there in the back, right? And then you don't sit there like, where's the waiter? Where's the waiter? I just placed the order. Is it there yet? Is it there yet? It's going to be a minute, right? And you're not. Now, does the Caesar salad always show up the same way that you ordered it, with the croutons and no croutons and extra anchovies? Probably not. But
very specific.
But you don't. I might order some Caesar salads. But you don't give yourself enough room when you're creating something to allow it to work, because you're so busy. It's like the farmer in the field is pulling up the shoots to make sure they're growing, right? Stop that. That's the part that's really getting in our way. We have to trust, claim the thing as if it were already done, and then go about your day. Let it go. Go about your day. Know that it is already there. Because it's coming. Even if you can't see it yet, you've already put your order in at the restaurant.
I love it. And so finally, Halle, I know we've gone over time here, but
yeah,
I love it. Thank you so much. I mean, last question here, actually, two. One, what is your vision for the future? But more importantly, how do you see the role of women in wealth creation evolving? And obviously, what do you hope your impact is on that process?
That's a great question. I actually am going to answer those questions together because the answer is the same.
I love it.
I want women to take their rightful place next to men as wealth creators and wealth builders. I believe that because it is the divine right of women as the creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is required to have the female for the creation process. And by the way, it is the feminine, not the woman, but the feminine.
Right.
And that is the balance of the sacred divine masculine and feminine. You, Mike, are a gentleman. I see from your beard and your lack of hair on the top of your head that you are a gentleman. And inside of you, there is still the sacred divine masculine and feminine, right? It is both. So for you to have that inside of you, you have the creative force as well. But what I see is that women, as the nurturers and as the creators, are the ones who are going to rescue the planet from the 11:59 that we are on the clock. And I talk to women every single day. I have like 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. I talk to them every single day, a lot of them. And I see so much coming where women are going to support each other because they are being all given the call at the same time. Women are waking up to their purpose and waking up to the fact that their purpose is going to help save the world. The Dalai Lama literally said the world will be saved by the Western woman. And I no longer think he meant Western women in general. I have taken that on as a personal mission, and all the women that I know are taking it on as a personal mission, that it is our job to help save the planet, because men have had thousands of years and all we're doing is wars and deforestation and a lot of conflict, right? Men tend to think in terms of conquering, women tend to think in terms of cooperation. Now, that's not every man or every woman, but it is the patriarch versus the matriarch mindset.
Right.
And so I think that women are going to come in and help to create a better world for all of us. And that men also could do well to explore their own sacred divine feminine and see about how they could create instead of conquer.
I love it. I love it. Halle, thank you so much. Love the conversation. Love what you're doing. For those watching, please comment, like, subscribe, ask questions, get involved, become a steward. If there's anything that I can do to help you, Halle, please let me know. But thank you for being here. Really, really appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, I love getting to do this and getting to talk to your audience. And I hope I was helpful today. And I really want to encourage everybody to just take a step to educate yourself on your money mindset. I actually would love to offer everybody a gift. Can I do that?
Oh, absolutely. Please.
Is
And if,
that all right?
yeah, and if it's okay with you, I'll get the link from you and I'll put it in the
Absolutely.
description.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to hallemoney.com, HALLE
Okay.
money.com, and you can subscribe to my weekly newsletter, which is all about money mindset for women. And if you're guys, send it to your favorite woman. And you also will get my top 10 money secrets every woman should know.
I love it. I love it. So I'll make sure to put that in the link. When I post this on other social networks, I'll make sure that link's in there. I have seen it. I have subscribed. Great newsletter, by the
Hey,
way. I love it.
thanks. Thank you.
But thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to our continued conversations.
Me too. Thank you.